Welcome to Slow Down Economics. Today we're meeting a thinker who treated capitalism less like a machine you fine-tune, and more like a living creature that mutates, breaks, heals, and mutates again. Joseph Schumpeter called the engine of progress creative destruction, and he meant it literally, the art and violence of innovation reshaping society from the inside. A useful way to place Schumpeter is to set him beside his great contemporary, John Maynard Keynes. Keynes is about stabilizing capitalism, fixing the machine in the short run. Schumpeter is about dynamizing it, watching the organism evolve in the long run. One focuses on demand management and cycles, the other on innovation, disruption, and the long arc of structural change. Schumpeter starts with what he calls the circular flow, a routine economy where firms produce, households consume, money circulates, and everything repeats. Supply equals demand. Managers follow habits and procedures. And in that perfectly circular world, there's no real profit and no real growth, just stability. Growth begins when the circle is broken by new combinations. Innovation isn't just invention, it's an alternative use of existing resources. Schumpeter lists 5 classic forms: new goods, new methods of production, new markets, new sources of supply, and new organization, sometimes even monopoly as a new structure. This is the spark that turns routine into transformation. And here's the essential fact: creative destruction. Schumpeter describes industrial mutation that relentlessly revolutionizes the economic structure from within, destroying the old and creating the new. Progress isn't gentle. It's a process where yesterday's best practice becomes tomorrow's dead weight. In Schumpeter's story, the central character is the entrepreneur. Not the capitalist who supplies money, and not the inventor who has a technical idea. The entrepreneur is the person who leads the new combination into the world, through will, leadership, and the stubborn courage to reorganize reality. Its ambition as a force of economic change. That courage matters because innovation is swimming against the stream. First, uncertainty, acting without complete data. Second, psychology. The brain resists leaving familiar neural paths. Habits and routines pull you back. Third, the social environment. Credit constraints, convention, and sometimes open hostility toward the deviator. The economy doesn't automatically welcome the future. Even Schumpeter's view of entrepreneurial power evolves over time. Early on, it's personal energy and will, the man of action. Later, it becomes leadership and organization, directing the means of production. And later still, it's a creative response to the unpredictable, adapting when the world shifts under your feet. There's also a quieter but crucial role: the banker. Innovation needs resources before it generates revenue. So the banker creates purchasing power, credit that detaches resources from old uses and redirects them into new ones. In this frame, credit is not just finance, it's the license to innovate. Put this together and you get the heartbeat of progress. Boom and recession as 2 phases of one process. Booms are the surge, innovation and imitation spreading through the economy. Recessions are the cleanup and digestion. Failed projects exit, resources reallocate, and the system resets. Try to remove all downturns, and you may also weaken the very mechanism that produces growth. Then comes Schumpeter's most provocative question: can capitalism survive? His answer is striking. He doubts it can. not because capitalism fails, but because it succeeds. The very forces that make it productive also reshape society in ways that can erode its own foundations. He calls this the suicide of success, and he points to three mechanisms. First, bureaucratization. The hero becomes a committee, and innovation turns procedural. Second, the evaporation of property. Shareholders replace owners, and responsibility becomes diluted. Third, loss of loyalty. Protective social strata dissolve, and the system loses defenders who feel personally invested. There's also what he calls a sociology of hostility. Capitalism educates its own critics. An intellectual class gains power through words without bearing practical responsibility for production. The result is a kind of bureaucratization of the mind. Critique becomes an industry, and legitimacy gets steadily chipped away. Whether you agree or not, it's a sharp lens on modern politics. And now the modern relevance. Superstar firms in the digital age. Creative destruction is still happening, but the paradox is that some giants innovate while also stifling rivals, shaping markets, and concentrating power. This slide ties the classic Schumpeterian idea to today's debates: innovation, dominance, and whether dynamism is being amplified or captured. The unfinished story is that capitalism is an evolutionary process, always becoming something else. If you take Schumpeter seriously, you stop asking for perfect stability and start asking better questions. What kind of mutations are we getting? Who benefits? Who pays? And what institutions keep the process humane? If you enjoyed this, subscribe to Slow Down Economics for more short, clear stories about how economic ideas actually shape real life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.